Hello, Airbus Cockpit Coach here, and welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to look at the FIX info page in our MCDU and look at how we use that. In summary, the FIX info page is a way of putting extra information onto your navigation screens, enhancing your situational awareness in certain situations. In my line training capacity, I'm always telling new pilots coming into the flight deck, always have something in your FIX info page. There is always something we can display, and if we're not, we're losing an opportunity to visualize something and increase our situational awareness. Let's just have a look at where we access the FIX info page. So we come down to our MCDU. We want to make sure we're on the flight plan page, and we then select any FIX from the left side. Once we're in the lateral revision page, come over to FIX info on the right. So now we'll see we have reference FIX at the top, and we have 8 characters there we can use, a maximum of 8. We also have 4 pages which we can scroll across to using the arrows. You see the numbers changing on the pages here at the top and back again, the left and right arrows. So essentially we can put in 4 different FIXes at any one time. That's our limit. We're currently on the ground at London Luton. Our first example of where we would use the FIX info page would be for our engine out SID, so we'd program in a route. It may be that on our displays we want to visualize the runway track which we'd want to maintain if we have an engine failure. So you can put in to the reference FIX any airport, an airport and runway threshold, or any other FIX. As long as it's in your aircraft database, it will show up on your displays. So let's put in a Golf Whiskey 25, so that's the runway threshold we're currently sitting on. We'll throw that in, and you'll see we have options to enter a radial and radius have opened up. So we wanted to put runway track in, 254 is in. Once we do that, you can see our track is on the display, and another box has opened down here where we can input another radial. So we can input 2 lines off any FIX. We can also insert a radius, so if it was the procedure for a particular airport that we would fly straight ahead until 12 miles and then have to execute a turn, we can put a radius in. Now there's our 12-mile mark, so once we intersect that point, that's giving us a visual reference. That's where we need to start our turn. So that's a departure scenario. We may also want a emergency waypoint in there, something that we would turn to, and we may want to have that on our displays so we can visualize that straight away. So we can put another waypoint in here, so we'll come across to the next page. Today, just for example, I'm going to use Hemel because I know that's within the range of our display here. And there you see it, there's Hemel there, has appeared. So you can throw in any waypoint just as a visual reference onto your displays. So it might be that where we want to proceed straight ahead until 12 miles and then fly back to Hemel, for example. So you can see how you can start building a visual picture up of a particular routing you would need to fly. Now if, for example, we wanted to insert some MSA boundaries here for reference as well, we can do that. So let's say off the airport we had a series of boundaries in a radius of 10 miles. We had different MSAs, so 4 different MSAs. So we can visualize that. So we'd refer to our charts and we put radials in, so one may be off at 290 and there'll be another one off on the reciprocal of 110. So there's our 2 lines. If we wanted to add more than 2 lines to a waypoint, we can come across and then enter the airport again, and then we could add in 200 and 020, for example. So there may be different minimum sector altitudes within all of these zones that we want to have visual reference for a particular airport. So we can see which quarter we're flying in, reference a chart, and we'll have that visualized straight away. There's our 10 nautical mile ring. So if we're flying our engine out procedure here, straight ahead, turn at that point back to Hemel, we'd know at this point we're entering a different MSA boundary, and we can cross-check quickly, be aware of that before we get into that, making sure we're at the correct altitude. So you can see from that example there, you can start populating a lot of information onto your displays quite quickly. But the key thing is just to make it sensible and not too cluttered. Have pertinent information on there for your phase of flight. So to clear these out, simply press clear, go through the waypoints on all the pages. We would generally clear anything that we put in for our departure when passing 10,000 feet. So we'd clear AdNav and clear the fix info page at that point. And then we can think about what other information we wanted to put in. So if we were flying along and if our waypoint there at Henley was where we would expect to be handed off to a different control sector, for example, if we were on a long flight, we could put in a radius around Henley. So we can go and we can put a 4 mile radius around that, so we can sort of expect while we're flying along that's approximately where we're going to be handed off. Particularly useful if you're flying, long flights, oceanic for example, where you can expect transfer across air traffic control boundaries. Or you could of course mark that with a line, put radials in and out of Henley using the radial feature. So that's another example. We can put coordinates into the fix info page, but obviously you're limited by the number of characters. As an example, we could put something close to our position here, such as 515 north and 000 west. If we range out, we'll probably find that somewhere out there. There it is. So you can put coordinates in, and again we can enter a radial off those if we need to. So we could be flying oceanic, that could be an airspace boundary for example. So an example there of how we can put a coordinates into the system. We can use it to visualize alternate aerodromes. Whilst we have the airport function up here, that will show a lot of airports. If you just wanted to show your particular alternate, you can throw that in there. So I've chosen Cranfield because I know it's nearby and we can see that. That is where I in fact learned to fly. So that's how that would appear there. So again, visual reference to an alternate. If that was off our screens in terms of range, and remember we're limited by range on the displays, we could draw a line onto our display. So maybe a 200 radial, you see the line come across there. We can instantly see where in relation to our route the airport is. So that's another way we would use this during cruise. But also use this page, let's say we're in the cruise here and we were cleared direct to Henley, but we wanted to conduct a fuel check here, so we didn't want to lose Delta 342 Delta here. What we would do, it would be cleared by air traffic control, we'll go direct to Henley, insert that. You can see Delta 342 Delta has gone from the display. We come down to the fix info page. Delta 342 Delta. We select that, you see it's gone in there. We can also select a beam. So we've got a marker there on our route now of when we'll pass a beam that waypoint, and that's the point in time which we can conduct our fuel check in relation to what we expected to have on the flight plan at that particular waypoint. When planning for our arrival, we'd use the fix info page as well to put in information again relating to terrain and go around track. So let's say we're coming in to Luton today. We may want to put in initially the runway heading to follow for the go around, but let's say we had to avoid terrain here at Delta 342 Delta again. Let's say there was some terrain within Delta 342 Delta and we had to turn before we got to that point. when following whatever the standard missed approach procedure is. But then again, we can visualize that we want to initially go around a one-way heading but avoid this area as per whatever our go around procedure is. So again, we're visualizing hazards on the display. So that's the FIX info page. It's a really useful tool, and one that you should be using when conducting your flights. It really does enhance your situational awareness. Remember though not to overclutter your screens, make the information pertinent to the phase of flight you're in, make sure it's updated. As I mentioned before, this is something that we're generally using throughout a flight in the real world. Do have a play with that, get used to how it functions and how you insert those references. If you have any questions on that, please drop them in the comments, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.